The women who first started pushing back against this were these radical feminists. And I think a lot of people thought they were being a bit crazy.
I find that it's most common with women. They don't want to stand up and speak out, and they go along with whatever they're told to go along with. And it outrages me so much that we're literally fighting other women to not have our spaces taken from us, to not have our safety and dignity compromised. It is frustrating.
Well, no, exactly. I mean, you have these, what do you call, captured organizations and federations. I mean, in my case, I was dealing with a biased board member, right, where they had either a trans child or a trans member of their family, and basically had their personal agenda and made me an example and basically said, you know, women, if you speak up, you're going to get banned, just like Eva Hutchinson did. So.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Toronto, and it is International Women's Day, and I am at an event called Reality-Based Women Unite. These aren't the crazy left-wing progressive Marxist feminists, you know, the ones that are soft-pedaling the raping of Israeli women, and in some cases denying it even happened. These are real women that are honest, straight shooters about the issues affecting women, such as, the radical transgender agenda. You know, the idea of men pretending to be women, getting into female safe spaces like sports, shelters, prisons. And you know, folks, it's a sign of the times that this event, it was organized months ago, and it was only a few days ago that people knew where the venue was, because the radical trans community, along with their allies Antifa and the Marxist-Leninists, they don't like women like this. They really are misogynists. And by the way, this is not some theory. I have tangible evidence. One of the speakers here tonight is Megan Murphy. She's a feminist, but she's referred by the derogatory term TERF, which is trans exclusionary radical feminist. If you can you please go to transmadness.com. That's transmadness.com. Sign our petition, and if you're able to, kindly make a donation. Check out this video when Megan Murphy was in Toronto in October of 2019 to give a talk at a local Toronto library. Just will you see the haters that showed up, that tried to shut her down.
Oh, okay then. Well, I can understand that you are a pro-censor and a pro-deplatformer, but...
I'm pro-punching you in the mouth is what I am.
Oh, so violence too.
Hate speech isn't free! Trans men are men! Trans women are women! And trash is trash!
How can you just try to shut people down and say, no, you're transphobic? Phobia is a fear, an irrational fear of something. We are not in fear of you.
What does that mean, by the way? TERFs are the flat earthers of gender, sir. F*** off. Is that what it means?
Nobody talks about
Well, it's that's a quote. Oh, no, thank you for it.
I'm here with my pastor.
Okay.
It's a godly time. I'd like you to get out of my space.
Is that the kind of language you'd use in a church, sir?
Unhinged, hateful, in some cases frothing mad people. That event went ahead, and the good news is, the last I looked, those radical trans individuals and Antifa members and anarchists and whatnot, they hadn't showed up. This show shall go on too. So we're here to see what they have to say, and I have arranged for some one-on-one interviews with many of the speakers here tonight, including Megan Murphy. Let's see what, common sense women fighting for common sense causes have to say.
All about deplatforming and censorship, but how does that help the disenfranchised?
We already told you once we're not talking to you. Now we're telling you a second time we're not talking to you. Get out of our face.
Get out of my face.
That's
I'm
all
not
you
talking
have?
to you.
Here we are. You are a feminist, but they use a derogatory term to describe you, a TERF, a trans exclusionary radical feminist. First of all, what in blue blazes does that really mean?
Well, apparently it means someone who knows the difference between a man and a woman. Like, it's a very funny term because that term TERF is used to describe essentially anyone who challenges gender identity ideology, anyone who challenges the idea that a man can become a woman and vice versa. I mean, it's revealing because I think that the women who first started pushing back against this were these radical feminists. And I think a lot of people thought they were being a bit crazy. Like, you know, why do you care what these guys do? Leave them alone. But lo and behold, now here we are in Crazy Town.
Well, folks, I'm with Amy Ham. She is a healthcare professional and a writer from Vancouver. And you might be familiar with Miss Ham's story, and it's a hell of a story. But for those who aren't, Amy, you got into a bit of hot water regarding the trans community and their allies. What exactly set off that chain of events?
The big one was years ago now, sponsoring an I Heart J.K. Rowling billboard after the writer came out in support of women's sex-based rights. So that led to an onslaught of public complaints to my regulator to attempt to have me fired from my nursing job. And it's been more than 3 years. Many more complaints have come in, and I'm still fighting to keep my job, essentially.
So let me get this straight. Your job is under fire as a healthcare professional, not because of any incompetence or malpractice, but because you committed the heinous crime of wrongthink.
Yes, I've never had a patient complaint. I've never had an issue in my workplace with performance. And the college that's persecuting me laid out in their opening arguments that this is 100% nothing to do with my workplace conduct. It's entirely the out-of-work conduct and the things that I say and do and write while I'm in my own private time.
Well, I'm with Heather Mason, and you know, folks, Heather used to be a convict, and she's gone from behind bars to being one of the, I guess, bravest feminists out there. She's standing up for some of the most disenfranchised women, that would be female prisoners, who now have to endure, thanks to Justin Trudeau, men going, it's just saying, I identify as a female, no surgery, no hormones, nothing. You can really have 350-pound bearded Bubba saying I'm a chick, and so be it. Heather, what is the latest on this ongoing farce? It's more than a farce because it's dangerous to real women behind bars, is it not?
It is dangerous, and I'm sure you read about the recent Luca Manata, who is identifying as a woman and going by Violet, and how they transferred him to medium security so that he's able to live out his fantasy of being a woman. What's next? Going to the women's prison so that he can watch us and start acting more like a woman? Like, it is madness. And you know, I find that it's most common with women. They don't want to stand up and speak out, and they go along with whatever they're told to go along with. And it outrages me so much that we're literally fighting other women to not have our spaces taken from us, to not have our safety and dignity compromised. It is frustrating.
Well, folks, I'm with Eva Kurova. She is a writer from Calgary, and you explore the impacts of gender ideology on women, children, and society as a whole for several diverse publications. Eva, what exactly does that mean, the impact of gender ideology?
It means that I explore the way that gender ideology harms women and children. So through policy, just through culture, the ways that women lose our single-sex spaces, the way that kids are taught nonsense in schools. I do a lot of research into prisons, for example, things like that.
And you're open by the fact that you are lesbian, correct? And I want to bring that point up, Eva, just for one reason. There are some organizations in that community, Gays Against Groomers, LGB without the T, meaning, you know, lesbians, gays, and bisexuals who don't want anything to do with the trans agenda. And I think these are the smart members of the community because they realize that a young person who might grow up to be a gay man, a young person that might grow up to be a lesbian, right now there's this it's almost like a fetish to say, oh, that's a boy trapped in a girl's body, a girl trapped in a boy's body, and they go through a transition that is unnecessary and later on regrettable. What are your thoughts on that?
That hits really close to me because as I've written and spoken a lot, I feel that if I was a kid today, because I was a tomboy, I just feel like I would be the perfect candidate for that kind of thing, to be identified as a boy and transitioned, because I know that if I had been told I could be a boy or I should be a boy, I would have hung on to that idea and not let go. And it particularly hits home to me because a lot of the steps that they put children on, puberty blockers, hormone surgeries, it makes them infertile. And I actually would really like to start a family and have a baby, and that's something I've been pursuing. And so to me, I always think of they would have taken that away from me. Of course, it's not the only issue, but that's what they're doing to young girls like me, taking that future away from them.
Well, folks, I'm with powerlifter April Hutchinson. You likely know April's story. She spoke out against gender-bending male grifters invading the world of powerlifting. Can you imagine that?
Why is women's bench so bad? I mean, not compared to me. We all know that I'm a tranny freak, so that doesn't count. Standard bench in powerlifting competition for women, I literally don't understand why it's so bad.
I mean, and we've talked about this before, April. The idea that you received a 2-year suspension for speaking the truth, reduced to 1 year. But April, it's preposterous. With the exception of equestrian and auto racing, men and women have always been separated into separate categories for obvious reasons. Biology. What the hell is going on in the world of Canadian powerlifting?
Well, exactly. I mean, you take the male grifter, as we call him, the male cheat, actually, Anne, in my federation, is ranked number 1 right now, currently in the world.
Shockers.
Yeah, big shocker. He also holds 3 out of the 5 records in Alberta, of all places. So, I mean, and he hasn't been training for, that long. He's breaking records that people that have been training for 10 years haven't even been able to break, so...
You know, I remember in the 90s, one of the best sitcoms of all time, Seinfeld, and there was an episode which was purely done for laughs. Kramer going into a karate class with little kids and, winning the championship by literally body slamming them to the floor. What was preposterous and funny and parody in the 1990s has come true today. What happened?
Well, no, exactly. I mean, you have these, captured organizations and federations. I mean, in my case, I was dealing with a biased board member, right, where they had either a trans child or a trans member of their family, and basically had their personal agenda and made me an example and basically said, women, if you speak up, you're going to get banned, just like April Hutchinson did. So.
Wow, the common sense espoused at this conference. It was a shock to the system given the garbage that we have to listen to from the radical elites, from politicians to our mainstream media types. Folks, if you want to take a stand against transanity, please go to transmadness.com. That's transmadness.com. Sign the petition, and please, if you're able to, kindly make a donation.